Welcome to the SacconiPrince.com show starring your man, Sacconi Prince. Sacconi is an international recognized motivational speaker that focuses on personal development and leadership development. He does this through thought-provoking keynotes, life-changing books, and powerful group coaching sessions. Sacconi is a transformational speaker, award-winning author, editor of a globally read online magazine, and conference host. Please welcome your host, Sacconi Prince.
Hello everybody, how you doing? And welcome to the SacconiPrince.com show. I'm your host, Sacconi Prince. I want to thank DJ Mike J for introducing me. And like I told you before, we're going to have him on our show. Well, listen, let's get our show started. Today we're going to talk about your influence and how you can actually impact other people. It's amazing to me just how much we don't expect that our life can be a shining example to someone else. I don't care where you are in life, there's somebody looking up to you. I remember a good friend of mine, Wendell Graham, he used to say that to a third grader, a fifth grader is a genius. And I know that seems kind of elementary, no pun intended, but the reality is that to somebody who doesn't know what you know, you become the expert. But so many of us, we discount the things that we know and the things that we can do, and we don't think that they have that much weight. But to somebody who really needs it, what we can do can be a life-changing experience. So I want you to think about the thing that you do that somebody needs from you. It may be something physical. You may be a mechanic, or you may be able to actually do hair or bake cakes. You may be able to cut grass. I don't know what it is. You may be a good listener. You may be a good friend. You may be able to help someone navigate a bad situation just by talking with them and talking them through that process. So my question to you is, what is it that you do that can impact and ignite somebody else, that can make their life better, that can encourage them to go on beyond their current circumstances and their situations? Because it's understanding what that is that really puts you in a position to where you can truly serve humanity. All of us have something we can offer the world. All of us have something that we can give. The question is, have we spent the time to find out what it is that we have and how we can share that with the world? I'm so excited because I know that there's somebody listening to me right now who really, they're on the cusp of understanding what their gifting is. They're on the threshold of understanding what it is they've been called to do. And once they truly embrace it, there's going to be no stopping them. But I tell people all the time, until you know who you are, anything can stop you. But once you know who you are, nothing can. So I want you to start a journey of discovering who you are. And I can tell you that I can help you with that because I have gone through that same process myself. I remember when I was in college, I was in a relationship that went bad and I was trying to figure out exactly what happened. But while I was still dealing with the fallout of the relationship, I really started to look at myself. And I started to understand, I said, Sacconi, why is it that you, in a relationship that you've been in, why is it was the woman that ended it? And what I found out was that I had some issues that kept me holding on for dear life. But I never would have understood that unless I had taken the time to do an evaluation of me. And that's why personal development is so important. Because if you never develop as a person, you stay in that same state, that same thinking for far too long. Some of us stay in relationships too long. Some of us stay in situations that are beyond us. And yet, because we haven't evaluated us, we repeat the cycle over and over again. And I don't want that to be you. So what I want to do is I want to encourage and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. And I have some options that actually you can check out, and I'm going to be announcing them really, really soon. I have some online training that you can take that's going to make a difference in how you see yourself. We're in the final phases of putting that stuff together. And once everything is uploaded and ready, oh, believe me, on this show, you're going to be hearing about it, either from me directly or from one of the commercials that we do. But I want to encourage you right now to actually get your mind right so that you can understand that you have something to offer the world. You have something valuable. And like Les Brown always says, you have greatness within you. But I know for a fact, God put it there. And he's expecting a return on his investment in you. You know, that reminds me, I remember several years ago, I started off the year. My first video of the year was about my agenda and how much stuff I had going on. And I talked about how my agenda was on fire. But listen, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I want to show you what the video is. Look, check this out. Man, I tell you, that was my 2016 schedule, and it was on fire. And look, this is Saucony Prince of SauconyPrince.com, where we introduce you to yourself. And today I want to talk about putting out fires. That's right, putting out fires. You know, I tell people all the time, stepping out of bed is like stepping out of an airplane. It's like, ah! And this year started off just that way. I mean, I had, 2 radio shows that I had to do, actually 2 online radio shows. I then spoke at the men's ministry at our church. I had a chance to be on the radio live here in Mobile. And I also went to Pensacola, Florida and talked to a group of employees there. And then I even spoke at a breakfast that Sunday. So I tell you, I have had a busy start to 2016. But you know, putting out those fires is easy when you know what you're supposed to be doing. Firefighters don't really question when they're called, when the bell rings and when a call comes in for them to go and put out a fire. Because they practice and they know what's necessary and needful in order for them to put the fire out. And so even going to speak, even going to talk, even going to share my story and encourage and motivate people, that's not really hard for me. One of the reasons is because I try to put in the time and the practice in order to make sure that when the call comes, I can step up to the plate and I can put that fire out. But you know, there's something else about fires. Yeah, you can put the bad ones out, but you can also start some good ones. And that's what I hope I did with some of the employees that I talked to this past weekend, was actually help them to start new fires, fires of passion about being better at their jobs, about being able to have touch points with their customers, about owning their route, and about doing the things that were required of them so that they could in turn earn more money. And look, if you're looking for somebody to help you with your employees, to help get your message across, please reach out to me because I'll be more than happy to help. You know, all I need from you is 3 things, 3 points that you want your employees to know, 3 points you want your group to know, 3 things that you want your association to walk away with. And then that's it. I can craft a custom-made presentation just for you. And believe me, it'll be something that's memorable, something that's entertaining and educational. So look, don't hesitate. Call Saucony Prince, or you can actually go to my website, SauconyPrince.com. And on there, you'll find all of my contact information, my email, my phone number, my Facebook, my Twitter, my YouTube. All of those things are available right there. And look, I look forward to serving you. And this is Saucony Prince of SauconyPrince.com, where we introduce you to yourself. Hey, you want to be my new best friend? Listen, grab your phone and click on your iHeartRadio app. Then go to where it says search and type in Next Level Leadership Summit with Saucony Prince. Okay, they don't have it under that name just yet, but the link says iHeart.com/. Look, never mind. I'm going to put the link around this video. You can click on that link and you can listen to my podcast on iHeartRadio. And don't forget to subscribe. Man, this is great. I'm running with the big dogs.
The wait is finally over for Saucony's most anticipated book of the year. leadership that lasts. Passing on 10 solid principles to ensure an enduring legacy. Powerful, effective, impactful, helpful, dynamic, phenomenal, transformative, life-changing. Available now in Amazon. Order yours today.
And we're back. And I can't tell you how excited I am to have our guest today. Miss Lotus Riches of Lotus Riches Ignites. She helps you ignite and take flight in every area of your life. I've been super pumped and super excited because I know that she's going to share some information that is going to be life-changing. She's been a good friend of mine for the last several months, but I tell you what, you have to get to know her. So I'm going to introduce you to her. So Lotus, tell the people about yourself.
Hi, Sakoni. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure to be in the same space with you. And thank you for your viewing audience. I am Dr. Lotus Riches, and I'm also known as Mrs. Ignite and Take Flight because I help people take flight and ignite in every area of their life. I'm the CEO of Lotus Riches Ignites, and we do everything social media. Also, I coach people all around the world, busy entrepreneurs, so that they can expand their reach and raise their revenue and get in front of the people that need and want their services in the now. Why wait till tomorrow when you can do it today?
Amen. Amen. Well, I am just super pumped because I know that what she's going to share with you today is going to help you become a better version of yourself. So Lotus, there's a question that I ask all of my interviewees, and I know some of them have different answers and different takes, but I want to get yours. And that question is, when it comes to your own personal development, and I mean things that you've done over the years to help get you to where you are, can you share with us what those are and what it is that you've done to become the best version of yourself?
One of the first things that really changed my life forever, it changed the whole trajectory of my life, was when I was in Japan working for the Department of Defense. And I work with people who have substance use disorders and mental illness. And what I learned from working with them was that when I learned to tell my story about my family members being addicted to drugs, the times where I saw them nodding out and found needles around where I lived and things of that nature, that was the time when I realized I was making such a substantial impact in people's lives. Now, I was doing really well before because I was great. No, I was good. I was good at helping
Use the word
my
great.
patients. Yeah. No, because I wasn't. I wasn't great. I was good. I was really good at it. But when I read this book called The Gift of Therapy by Dr. Yolam said, don't take people where you're not willing to go. So I had to get into my own journey, and I had to take my patients to where I was willing to go to help them to get where they needed to go. And so I started really sharing from a heart space, my experience of life about my family members being addicted to drugs. I shared with them that I had gone in these places called shooting galleries, which of course you may know that these shooting galleries are abandoned buildings where people go that use drugs and they turn tricks to get drugs. And some of them have to live in these buildings. And so it was only then when I started sharing my real true life experiences that I help people turn their lives around where they were spending thousands of dollars. And I said spend, not circulate, because the money was not coming back to them in their pocket. They was losing money on every hand. But when they heard my story from a heartfelt space, they looked at me differently. They felt differently, and they knew that I wasn't just telling them what to do, but I was telling them what I had come through. And I was a living example of the fact that it doesn't matter where you come from. You can take that and utilize that to break open every barrier to get to where you're going to. Because here's what I learned, Sakoni. My story is my power. And that's what I tell people. Your story is your power. So tell it. And if you think you're bragging with some of the triumphs that you share, I want to tell you this. It's not bragging, baby, if you've done it.
That's it. That is so, so true. And you know what I heard you really say was just how important it is for us to be true to ourselves so we can help other people do the same thing. You know, we oftentimes lead by example. And I know for myself, I have worked for people and I've been in an organization with people where somebody would tell you to do something, but they're not doing their part. But the most effective people or the most effective leaders that I've known are the ones that hold themselves accountable first. And then they can hold others accountable. I think about, in fact, Michael Jordan, he was at a basketball camp and, you know, one of the students stood up and asked him, said, what is it that you do to be the best? And he said, he stood flat footed and told him, said, you demand the best of yourself first, and then you can demand the best of others. And so I know how important developing as a person and developing personally is going to help you in other areas of your life. And you being willing to share your truth, share your story with other people, it definitely opened them up to you, and it opened them up to the possibility of they could be the one day sharing their story. So with that being said, now that you've gotten to that point to where you have, in fact, developed yourself, how do you use that same attitude, that same thought process to help you when it comes to leading other people?
Well, what I've learned to do is I put my story in books. This is one of my books. It's a collaborative effort. And if you look at this, I want to get close up. It's the opportunity to transcend in the midst of a crisis. And in this book, I'm with so many people from all over the world, from various countries. And what I learned from doing this is that I'm leading by example. And in this particular book is the first time ever I talk about my being raped at age 6 and how I held that story for 15 years. Again, I am the example. I am forever the teacher, but I am also forever the student. And I think that is critically important for people as we lead others. We must lead not just from the front. We must also step back and let them see where we've come from. Right. And also understand that when we are leading people, we must lead from the place of knowing that we can always learn something from the people that we're leading, because it's not by happenstance that we meet the people we meet. God has brought us into their life for a reason, and they're in our life for a reason. And so when I lead people, when I coach people, when I train people, I share with them, teach me like I'm a 2-year-old. It's okay. Don't get mystified by the degrees on the wall or that I'm a Guinness World Record holder, that I have all these books, that I know all these people. Right. Get mystified by the fact that I know God. Amen. Because I allow God to lead me as I lead other people. I listen to the voice of God. Amen. And I charge people to do the same. I charge people to expect the best from themselves, even when they don't think the best of themselves. And here's another thing, Sakoni. Right. We as leaders must understand that we are fallible. Yes. We as leaders must understand that we don't know everything about anything. My dad used to say that all the time. No one knows everything about anything. And because we know that that is the fact, this is how I help others. Always remember to every day evolve, learn one new thing. And especially as a leader, know that even people you're coaching, they may know more about certain things than you. So always lead with an open mind to learn, so that you can embrace the things that you're supposed to learn while you're leading.
Right, right. Well, humility is definitely one of the characteristics of a good leader. You know, someone that realizes that they don't have all of the answers and that they can learn from the people that they're leading. And not only that, but I have come to understand that you set an example and you set a precedence for those individuals who are following you when they step into your shoes. But if you set a standard to where you have all the answers or you have to be the actual go-to person, then when you're not there, everything crumbles, everything falls. But being humble enough to realize that, listen, somebody else knows more than me. Somebody else has certain skills and abilities that I don't, and value in that. To me, that's the mark of a true leader. And I also want to add this too, that I know for a fact the impact that Lotus has had even on my life and even on my actual social media. I shared this with her some time ago. After being on one of her shows, my podcast went through the roof. If I were to pull up and show you the actual listenership just from being on her show, I mean, it spiked. And I mean, when I say spiked, I'm talking like 900 listens or plays of that one show. And that just goes to show the impact that she's making, not only here, but literally around the world. It wasn't until I was on her show that I had people from the Philippines listening to my podcast and checking out my magazine. And so for that, I want to say thank you, Lotus, for you being the type of person you are, because that doesn't happen by accident. And it doesn't happen overnight. And I know you've invested a lot of time, energy, and effort into helping people to become a better version of themselves. So with that being said, is there any last word, and how can people get in contact with you and follow you on social media?
I would say first things first, again, thank you for what you shared. And I want to share this with your viewers. When you called me and you showed me your numbers, there are numbers of change, and you showed me, hey, Lotus, I've got folks in Madagascar watching me.
Right,
It really touched my heart
right,
because here's something that I know. You teach people too. You do a magnificent job, and you're so free hearted with what you share. And this is something that I learned from you. And I wanted to say this. Um, as a leader, we want to understand how the people that we're leading learn. You need to find out if they learn by doing or by seeing.
right,
Okay. What type of learner are they? And it will make you a more powerful learner and leader if you can narrow down the people that you're teaching and how they learn, because it will give them exponential growth in a short amount of time if they can craft their skill set the way they best learn and lead. So, with that being said, I wanted to say, folks, make sure you're using books like this, Brian Tracy, The Psychology of Selling. I have a background in psychology, a master's in business, a doctoral in humanities. And one thing that I know, excuse me, is that they're keys to success. And these are 17 principles by Napoleon Hill. But one of my all-time favorites is this one right here, Think and Grow Rich. And I hope you can see that. And yes, the book is tattered because this book has been to Japan and almost every country I've been to. And then another favorite of mine for all of you out there, whether you're a leader, whether you're aspiring to be a leader, whether you think you're not a leader, guess what? You already are a leader because you're leading your own life.
right.
Don't be afraid to jump. Jump into the life that you're supposed to have. Walk into your purpose. And as you're walking into your purpose, always walk right over to my channel on Facebook. You can reach me at Lotus Riches Ignites. You can reach me at Lotus Riches. News you can use. And, excuse me, make sure you check me out on the Lotus Riches Ignite show. Check me out on Instagram, YouTube, Alignable, and check me out on my podcast at Lotus Riches. And so with that, Saucony, my final words of wisdom would be lead yourself first in a loving way so that you can lead others in a loving way. Because after all, you never know who's watching you, because you may be the mentor that helps someone else break through and not even know it.
And that is it. That is it. That is it. I tell you that having people like you in my life, it really helps me stay grounded, but it also helps me to reach for the stars, because I know that there's somebody out there that's just as concerned, just as passionate, and just as intent on making the world a better place as I am. And so I want to publicly say thank you for being my friend, my sister. I want to thank you for the contribution that you're making to make this world a better place. Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Ready for a nap right now.
And we all have to work hard.
Right.
Man, it's about time for us to get started.
Well, we are. It's we live. We just waiting on you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, men of God. Welcome to the National Men's Prayer Call.
And you know that I'm the Messiah. And on that rock, I'll be able to build your faith, your ministry, your identity, everything based on that fundamental knowledge that you know my identity.
Most of us are trying to game plan these different areas of life. Like, how am I going to win in my business? How am I going to, get this relationship right? How am I going to lose that 20 or 30 pounds, right? That COVID-19 that a lot of us put on. Like, we got plans for everything else, but what is the God plan?
That interview with Lotus Riches was definitely, like my other video, on fire. And I'm so appreciative to Lotus for all that she does to make the world a better place. But listen, we do have a last word coming out of Mark chapter 5, verses 18 and 19. And when he had come into the ship, he that had been possessed with the devils prayed him that he might be with him. Howbeit Jesus suffered him not, but said unto him, Go home to thy friends and to them, and tell them how great things the Lord hath done for thee, and hath had compassion on thee. When you have an encounter with God, it changes you, and it sets you on a path to where you can start changing others. Dr. Phil said that blowing out my candle doesn't make yours any brighter. And we need to learn how to be that conduit for God's love. We need to let our light shine. And when we find somebody whose light is out, we need to share our light with them so that they can shine as well. And look, this is Saucony Prince, and this is the SauconyPrince.com show. And I tell you, you really don't want to miss next week. You thought this show was fire? Wait until next week. I'm going to have a special guest, and you got to be here to check it out. Listen, we'll see you next week. Talk to you later. Bye.